Laura Ziegler at Miss Laura's Social Club here in Fort Smith, Arkansas, now the Visitor Center. Now, Miss Laura's was one of 7 houses here on the row in the red light district. Miss Laura's came to be the queen of the row and later as the grandest bordello in the West. Fort Smith has been designated as the top true Western town in the U.S. for 2013 by True West magazine. And this is bringing us a lot of national attention at this time. Fort Smith was a true border town in that when you crossed the river, you were in Indian territory.
There was no law west of the Arkansas River. President Grant commissioned Isaac Parker to bring law into a lawless area.
There was a time when we had 66 saloons down on our Garrison Avenue. So if you think 66 saloons and 7 houses of ill repute, I mean, there's no wonder we had so much lawlessness in the area.
This was pretty much the jumping off point into the West.
The National Historic Site here in Fort Smith gets a lot of visitors every year, but they showcase the courtroom, the hanging gallows, and the old jail known as Hell on the Border during Judge Isaac C. Parker's time.
Bass Reeves was Judge Isaac Parker's most proficient and successful deputy marshal. Over a 32-year career, Bass Reeves captured more outlaws than any other deputy marshal, over 3,000, and wounded or killed more fugitives than any other marshal during the course of that time. Bass Reeves was also significant in that he was one of the few African Americans to serve Judge Isaac Parker's courtroom. Bass was known for his character and his honesty and integrity. There is a monument that is dedicated to Bass Reeves, and it is the first monument to a U.S. Marshal, a deputy or otherwise, in the 224-year history of the U.S. Marshal Service.
And Fort Smith has been selected as a site for the U.S. Marshals Museum, which will showcase the 225-year history of the U.S. Marshal Service.
We're at the Fort Smith Trolley Museum. This is a Bernie safety car that was operated in Fort Smith up until 1933. This particular one was bought in 1926, so they actually only used it 7 years. We've operated it since 1991, so we've operated it more than 3 times as long as the Light and Traction Company did. It was the second batch of cars they had like this. They were designed with the idea of saving the streetcars because they only took one person to operate them. They used a lot less electricity than the old heavy cars, and they had a lot better acceleration so you could have closer headways on the routes. We're the only museum that has a car that operates in a downtown area like this. This is the Hot Springs car that we have. It was built in 1904, the year they opened up Oaklawn Racetrack to take people out in the country to the racetrack races. And so we're real fortunate to have it. There are very few Arkansas cars that have been preserved.
I'm Chuck Gerard, and we're in the Van Buren Depot, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the Arkansas-Missouri Railroad excursion train today.
On the journey, you're going to cross over Frog Bayou and Clear Creek several times. We'll go through several small communities, and we'll talk about each of them as we do. Then we'll cross over 3 high trestles, each over 110 feet above ground. Then finally through the Winslow Tunnel, we go into Winslow. And when we arrive at Winslow, we do a runaround. Simply put, the engine's going to swap ends for a return trip to Van Buren, and that's essentially the excursions. It's quite a sight to see.
When you get on these cars, you're actually experiencing living history by being on the cars. We even actually operate a dome car that came off of California Zephyr, which is an experience all in itself. It surprises me every time that we run. We'll have talked to people that say, well, this is the first time I've ever been on a train. I've never experienced it. I'm having a blast. This is a good time.
Since we are the Visitor Center, stop by and see us first. Here you'll be able to pick up literature to help you with your visit, and we do look forward to hosting you in Fort Smith.